that in relation to your duty as
Good morning, Malacañang Press Corps. Welcome sa weekly economic briefing. Today we have Assistant Secretary Tony Lambino. Good morning, sir.
Morning. Thank you, Rocky. At magandang umaga po. Welcome muli sa ating weekly economic press briefing hosted by the Economic Development Cluster and PCOO. Nais po naming pasalamatan ang CHED at ang UNIFAST o United Financial Assistance System for Tertiary Education dahil sa hatid nilang magandang balita noong isang linggo na record high na bilang ng mga enrollees sa kolehiyo ngayong school year 2018 to 2019. Malaking tulong po para sa ating mga kabataan ang abot kamay na edukasyon na totoong makakapagbigay sa kanila ng maginhawang buhay. Bahagi pa rin ito ng ating medium to long-term development story o ang tinatawag natin na pag-upgrade ng ating economic engine. Ang kasalukuyang administrasyon ay patuloy na gumagawa ng paraan para maging mas competitive at mas maabilidad ang mga susunod na henerasyon ng mga Pilipino. Isinusulong ng pamahalaan ang puspusan na pagtatayo ng infrastruktura at pagdaragdag ng serbisyo para sa mga mamamayang Pilipino gaya ng edukasyon upang tuloy-tuloy ang pag-angat ng bansa mula sa kahirapan. Ngayon naman po ay kasama po natin ang LTFRB upang minsan pa pong paalalahanan ang ating mga kababayan na jeepney drivers or operators kung kanino man nakapangalan ang lehitimong prangkisa na inyo na po sanang kunin ang inyong pantawid pasada fuel cards. Nirekomenda na rin po ng mga economic manager ang suspension ng second tranche ng excise tax sa langis next year dahil sa nananatiling mataas ng presyo ng krudo sa pandaigdigang merkado. Asahan po ninyo na patuloy naming tututukan ang mga adjustments sa presyo ng langis at ng mga pangunahing bilihin kasama po ang buong Economic Development Cluster. Sa ngayon po ay ipapasa ko po ang mikropono kay LTFRB Chairman Martin Delgra III para sa kanyang pahayag tungkol sa Pantawid Pasada Program at ang recent fare hike. Maraming salamat po, Chairman Delgra.
Magandang umaga, Asek Tony, at sa lahat po na nandito at sa mga nakikinig at nanonood. We have been asked to update the public regarding the Pantawid Pasada program that is ongoing until now, and we hope to finish this before the end of the year. As of the latest po, October 23, 2018, 6:30 in the evening last night, we already have distributed a total of 40.14% of those cards which were already printed and were already downloaded to the regions, which would translate to 57,227 cards all in all. Tuloy-tuloy po ito, hindi lang po on weekends but even on weekdays all across the country. But we would, however, depend on the coordination on the ground, especially in the region, between the LTFRB Regional Director as well as the focal person sa Land Bank. I'm referring to the Land Bank Manager to which branch these cards were actually enrolled in. And that's the reason why kailangan sila magsama at magtandem sa pagbibigay ng cards doon sa mga benepisyaryo ng Pantawid Pasada cards. Ang ginagawa po natin dito, hindi lang po yung regular media briefing at radio interview. Ang ginagawa na para lang again and again that we would remind the operators as well as the drivers na naglilibot na yung mga LTFRB personnel sa mga terminals na nagbibigay ng mga leaflets. Doon naman during the time of the distribution, there are occasions where hindi naman karamihan pero there are occasions where mahirapan pumunta yung operator, may kapansanan kaya or whatever. We would take effort to deliver the cards to where they are. So ganun po ang ginagawa po natin. As I've said, this is not the rule because hindi naman lahat na konti lang naman, pero the effort that we're actually doing is that we want to get these cards out already to those to the operators and drivers who are supposed to get these cards. No?
Yung sa fair hike.
And so far as the fare hike is concerned, as you know, the LTFRB has already decided on the fare hike petitions of both the bus operators as well as the PUJ transport groups. I'll start off with the PUJ fare hike petition, which was filed by 5 transport groups. Pasang Mazda, Pedrodap, Eltodap, Acto, and Altodap. They first, just a little background, the initial hiling ng mga PUJ transport group was actually a dagdag pasahe of 2 pesos from the original 8 pesos minimum fare on the first 4 kilometers. Along the way, while the petition was being heard, they filed an amended petition asking for another 2 pesos, as well as a 1 peso for every succeeding kilometer after the first 4. So obviously, malaki masyado yung hinihingi nila. No? If we're going to aggregate it, lalabas na 4 pesos from the original 8. That's quite a jump. It's a 50% increase ang hiling. Aside from yung 1 peso for every succeeding kilometer. So if you could just imagine a route of 10 kilometers, yung taas po kung pinayagan natin, hindi lang po dun sa 4 na piso, kung hindi na rin po dun sa 6 na piso for the remaining 6 kilometers that a 10-kilometer route would probably run. So, but nevertheless, conscious of the fact that the operating cost in having to run a public utility service, as well as the rising cost on fuel, and if I may say, much of this hindi naman ang kagawa ng gobyerno. The world market movement on the fuel price price on fuel is the one that really is bringing the price of fuel increasing. No? But nevertheless, we have granted a provisional increase of 1 peso as early as July 6, 2018. And then nung October 18, nagpalabas na kami ng decision to grant an increase of 1 peso, or a total of 2 pesos from the original 8 pesos. Yesterday, however, we received a motion for reconsideration filed by the oppositor to the PUJ fare hike petition. Ito po yung oppositor na ito has been the oppositor since then. No? And I understand the oppositor who filed the motion for reconsideration was joined in by another commuters group. No? So that motion for consideration is now set for agenda this week by the board, and we will come out with a decision, hopefully within the 15-day period, during which the decision would become final. In our dispositive portion in the decision, we have mentioned that the decision will become final 15 days after 15 days from after the publication expires. I mean, so that would be around November 2, because it was published on October 19.
MPC questions, Benji Riwanag, to be followed by Ina and RJ. Benji, Laila, paabot ng microphone. Salamat.
Sir, good morning to Chairman Belgra. Sir, nag-coordinate ho ba kayo with the National Economic Development Authority on the decision
Apo.
dun sa fare hike?
It took us a while to reach a decision because we need to consult with other government concerned agencies. Concerned government agencies. That includes DOLE, DTI, as well as NEDA. And NEDA's report came October 2, if I'm not mistaken. And from then on, we came together, no? Exchanged notes, consulted the members of the board, and we came up with a decision about 2 weeks thereafter, taking into consideration what NEDA have already, what NEDA has given as their opinion on the inflationary impact.
Okay. So, sir, pero umaangal pa rin yung ilan sa mga transport group at sinasabi nila they still need to pay something, parang ganon. Meron po bang ganon na,
Which one?
Chairman? Meron daw silang dapat bayaran sa LTFRB dito sa pagtataas ng singil. May ganon po ba? Pwede po bang pakiliwanag, Chairman?
I understand part of the dispositive portion that we have mentioned is that there would be a fare matrix that will be prepared, no, for the information of both the drivers, operators, as well as, and more importantly, the passengers. And the fare matrix would cost 50 pesos po. The fare matrix will reflect the new rate not only on the first 4 but also on the succeeding kilometers thereafter.
But they still need to pay something
Apo.
for the LTFRB aside from the 50 pesos, sir.
What I understand is that they will also have to pay for, if the increase is not provisional, they will have to pay 520 per franchise po, and not per ano.
Per month or
No,
that would
one-time
be
fee.
Okay.
One-time fee.
Kasi yun nga inaangal nila, sir, nag-increase ka nga pero may binayaran ka naman. How would you reconcile with this?
It's part of the regulatory fee that the LTFRB imposed.
Thank you very much.
Ina Andolong.
Chairman Delgra. Sir, I understand the fare hike will take effect November 3. With the MR filed yesterday, is it possible na madedelay yung implementation?
There's a possibility, no? But as I've said, we will agenda the motion for reconsideration this week. We're going to have a board meeting tomorrow, so we will be able to hopefully discuss. We would be able to discuss certainly and hopefully resolve it within the period.
Nabanggit niyo po kanina, you hope to decide on it within 15 days din po. That's 15 days starting when?
Starting from the time it was published on October 19.
How long will you be hearing this MR? How long do you expect to
Okay, I got your question. That will really depend on, because I actually have here a copy of the MR. It's a one-page motion for reconsideration, so I don't suppose we will be able to tackle it at length, no? Because, but we will still have to, discuss it obviously and resolve the same.
Because you also mentioned, sir, na this oppositor, the one who filed this, has been opposing the fare hike ever since. I'm wondering if there's something new that he's mentioning in the MR filed yesterday, or is it just going to be a matter of, kung pareho lang din yung points niya? Hindi,
I would rather not preempt the discussion in the board, no? Although, as I think some of you already have a copy of the MR. And siguro from your end you can already appreciate it, but I hope you understand that insofar as the board is concerned, we still have to discuss it internally and hopefully come up with a decision.
So no timeline, sir, on how long we'll resolve that?
Ano po?
No timeline set on how long we'll resolve that MR?
As mentioned earlier, it's already agenda for put in the agenda for tomorrow. We will discuss it and hopefully we'll be able to resolve it. As I've said earlier, within the 15-day period during which the publication is taking effect.
Okay, thank you.
RJ.
Sir, why did you not heed NEDA's advice of 9 and 50 centavos instead of 10? Ms. Lizada had a dissenting opinion.
As regards the As you know, when you talk about a decision-making process in a board that is collegial in character, all these opinions, points of views are being considered. And at the end of this decision-making process, we have to make a decision. And it so happened that we have a majority decision and we have a minority, I'm sorry, we have a majority opinion and we have a minority opinion. In a number of occasions, the board would be unanimous. In a few occasions, the board would be able to rule in the majority. This is one of those occasions.
And what was your opinion, sir?
Our opinion is in the majority, which is actually what is contained in the decision. By the way, the decision contains not only what is mentioned in the majority, but also the minority, also includes the minority opinion of the dissenting
But
board
why,
member.
why 10, sir, instead of 9 and 50?
Ano po?
Why 10 pesos minimum fare instead of 9 and 50 centavos as suggested by NEDA?
Okay. As we have mentioned in our decision, NEDA have suggested a 50 centavo increase recommended, and they have discussed the inflationary impact. Among the things that we have considered, at least in the majority, as to why we granted a 1 peso increase, meaning if you reckon it from the 950, is an additional 50 centavos. Okay. NEDA's report did not include the two fuel prices that took effect thereafter, insofar as the opinion is concerned. But nevertheless, insofar as having to look at the inflationary impact for both PUJ and the bus, kasi po yung NEDA report talks about the inflationary impact on the on the petitions for fare hike for both buses and PUJ. And ang difference lang po between the a proposed 50 centavo increase to a 1 peso increase is 0.024%. Obviously, may taas, no? But it's a matter of perspective as to whether sobrang taas ba yan, mababa ba yan na taas. Because any increase, obviously, would always have an impact.
So, sir, the Pantawid Pasada is not enough?
Ano po?
The Pantawid Pasada subsidy is not enough.
Ah, okay. I would like to look at it in a much bigger picture if that is the case, no? Because the Pantawid Pasada program is a social mitigating measure, no? That is to help alleviate a sector that is vulnerable. I'm talking about the sector in the public transport sector. And that would be the POJ. Matagal na po silang napabayaan, if I may say, probably by a matter of policy or a matter of choice on their part. Kasi nga, among other things, yung tinatawag nating modernization program, nangyayari lang po yan doon sa pagpapalit ng mga bagong unit doon sa bus, UV at saka taxi. Sa POJ po, hindi. I will get into the point that you're trying to raise. And because of that, we need to push the modernization program. And we would like to think that this modernization program would positively impact on the PUJ drivers as well as the operator. No? So, habang ginagawa natin itong modernization program na ito, and in fact, it is mentioned that among the reasons why we have this Pantawid Pasada program is precisely to help this vulnerable sector in the public transport to transition themselves. No? Kaya nga nabigyan ito ng dagdag, how do you say that? Dagdag tulong, yun ng Pantawid Pasada program. Yung ibang tulong naman din po na narinig namin sa DOE, these are initiatives coming from the oil companies, which until now, they're giving oil discounts. If you look at yung gusto nating mangyari dun sa dulo, sa modernization program, it's simply a matter of bringing down the cost and raising the income of in this case, the PUJ, drivers and operators. kung mangyari man, like what's happening now, no? Na meron na mga rota, na may mga bagong sasakyan, at saka bagong sistema, I'd just like to point that out, no? Yung modernization program na ito, hindi lang po ito bagong sasakyan, kundi sistema. That said, we have to look at having to lower the cost of the operation so that that will translate to income on the part of the operator and driver. So, yun po, hindi lang po, this is not a, what do you call, a one-shot solution. You look at fare so that you'll be able to raise the income of the driver. But then again, ang masakit doon, matatamaan yung mga mananakay na mas marami pa. Ano? So, it's really a balancing act, a delicate balancing act on the part of LTFRB in having to address this type of issues. But then again, as I've said, it's not something of a one-shot solution na sasabihin mo na lang, itataas mo na lang yung fare para may sasagot natin yung hiling ng mga what do you call this, public utility jeepney drivers and operators. So, it's a solution that has to be looked at na mas malakihan.
Okay, Joyce Balancio to be followed by Joseph, Lanesca, and Rosalie.
To Attorney Delgra din po, and also ASEC Lambino, if masasagot nyo rin. Sir, with the suspension of excise tax coming next year, paano po maapektuhan yung budget for Pantawid Pasada program? I believe social programs ang maapektuhan ng suspension of excise tax.
Yung suspension ng excise increase for 2019 is the 2 peso additional excise on diesel and on gasoline. And that recommendation from the economic managers was made to Malacañang. Nag-announce na po si spokesperson Panelo na ito po ay tinanggap ng Pangulo, pero inaantay pa po natin yung official document that states that. Ngayon, ang revenue impact po niyan for the year of 2019, kung buong taon po yung suspension, ay around 41 billion. No? So the estimates range from 40 to 41.6 billion. And yung increase naman po sa VAT, dahil po sa pagtaas ng presyo, ma-offset po ng konti. So our estimate at this time is 27 billion no, in terms of revenue impact. Ngayon, ang napag-usapan din po ng DBCC ay mag-form ng task force para tingnan kung saan po kukunin yung 27 billion na either ipopostpone or ika-cut doon sa budget. At ang mga example na nabanggit na po ni Secretary Dominguez at ng ibang economic managers ay mga bagay tulad ng non-essential international travel, replacement vehicles, at saka possibly not filling positions that have been unfilled for a while. Yan po ay mga unang mga suggestions para doon sa task force. Yan po yung mga hahanapin nila. So it will not be the social programs per se that will be discussed. No? It will be non-essential spending. Pangalawa, meron din pong adjustment na nabanggit ang DBM pagdating sa Pantawid Pasada. Yung pagtaas po kasi ng Pantawid Pasada would have been up to around 20,000 initially kung tuloy po yung increase ng excise. Pero dahil po hindi naman ho magi-increase yung excise starting January 1, for the period na nakasuspend yung increase ay kung i-annualize po natin yan, the computation would be to, instead of quadrupling the Pantawid Pasada, kasi 5,000 po ngayong taon for the second half of the year, ay instead of quadrupling the amount, dodoblehin na lang po. No, so instead of 5,000, it will be a 10,000 peso Pantawid Pasada grant for 2019. Yan po ay kung suspendido yung fuel excise for the whole of 2019. Dahil hindi pa po final kung ano po ang magiging mekanismo para i-lift yung suspension.
Sir, just to clarify lang, you mentioned 20,000 originally if meron tayong increase
So can we say from 20,000 original, magiging 10,000 na lang ang ibibigay sa Pantawid Pasada?
Opo, so it will be half of what's been budgeted so far, but also it will be double than what was received this year kasi nga po 6 months yung Pantawid Pasada ngayon 2018. Kaya kung bubuuin ho natin yung taon na 2019 ay dodoblehin po natin yung Pantawid Pasada. Yun po ay ang initial na nabanggit ng DBM at ni Secretary Jokno.
Initial, sir, meaning hindi pa siya final as of this time?
Ang titingnan ho kasi natin talaga saan kukunin yung 27 billion, yun yung priority ng task force na binuo ng DBCC at talagang ang hahanapin muna ang mga non-essential spending. Pero kailangan din ho nating sundin yung batas dahil po ang social mitigating measures under train ay naka-earmark po ang 30% ng incremental revenues from the additional excise taxes.
Hey, Attorney Delgra po, how will this affect yung beneficiaries natin knowing na half of what they're supposed to be getting na lang ang mabibigay given na matuloy nga na 10,000 na lang?
Alam niyo po, when I would join in the card distribution, hindi lang po sa Metro Manila, kung hindi po sa probinsya, tuwang-tuwa po sila doon sa 5,000 na naibigay under the Pantawid Pasada program. So I'm sure they would also be just as happy and probably happier doon sa dagdag pa na ibibigay for next year. Alam natin na merong mga programa na kailangan talaga na tingnan, lalo na sa economic managers natin, kung paano hahatiin yung resources ng government, lalo na doon sa mga social programs. But nevertheless, I'm sure our beneficiaries were just as appreciative, if I may say, of this program that is being currently implemented.
Okay,
Dagdag ko lang po na yung disenyo ng Pantawid Pasada program ay para i-offset yung excise. No? It's for the excise. It's not for the increase in our international oil imports. It was not designed for that. Kaya po, dahil excise po yung isususpend, yung pag-adjust ng amount ng Pantawid Pasada ay aligned po dun sa layunin ng programa.
Okay, Joseph Moro.
Okay, Sir Delgra. Sir, konting digress lang tayo, yung sa Valenzuela. Any
Yes.
update po? And any guidance, yung nagka-cutting trip?
Opo. It's a developing story. I was asked about it early this morning. Ang pagkaalam po namin, kaya nga we sent a team there. I'm still trying to get a feedback right now. Ang pagkaalam namin, merong rota from Monumento to San Antonio, May Kawayan, Bulacan. And it passes through Valenzuela. And there was a group of PUJ drivers who would rather not proceed to Bulacan, hanggang Valenzuela lang sila. If ever that is the case, that would be a case of trip cutting. Bawal po yan. Kasi nga po, pag mayroong rota yan na ilatalaga ng LTFRB, kailangan susundin ng isang franchise holder na nabigyan ng prangkisa to run that route. Precisely because you need to serve yung mananakay along that route. So kung hindi ka aabot doon sa destination mo, you are actually violating the terms and conditions of the franchise.
And that can be a cause for the termination of the franchise?
That would be the worst that would ever happen. We'll have to call their attention. It could be there could be suspension or ultimately cancellation of the franchise. But I understand for now, humupa na ata. I think they have already. I'm sorry, but the latest of which I have to defer siguro later once I get the full details.
But you will be calling on this?
Yes, definitely. We're getting once the team would be able to complete what they're supposed to do. Not only to call the attention of yung mga POJ drivers na hindi tumuloy doon sa Bulacan, na kailangan silang tumuloy, otherwise matitikitan sila ng ating mga personahe. sa LTFRB, but also for them to submit a report so that we will be able to, the board would have to take that up and hopefully issue a show cause order if there's basis to issue one.
Right, so papatawag niyo, sir, no?
Ano pa, magpapatawag po kami.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay, Lenesca. Rose, microphone please. Lenesca.
Good morning, sir. Sir, dito po. Good morning po. Sir, I don't know who is more competent to answer yung sa Pantawid Pasada. You mentioned 40% pa lang yung distributed, 40% of the cards.
Opo.
Where is the bottleneck coming from, sir? Kasi wala pa tayo sa kalahati at this point.
Opo. Good question. There are a number of issues that we have seen. No? If I may say, actually, one concern is on the part of Land Bank. I have been talking with Land Bank even this morning before coming here. And it is not to blame them, but actually, merong mga distribution programs din sila na ginagawa for the 4Ps. It's also a social mitigating measure for the poor. Kaya nahati yung oras nila at saka yung resources. But nevertheless, insofar as LTFRB is concerned, my directive to the regional directors is precisely to coordinate with the local land bank manager in charge of or to whose branch these cards are actually enrolled in, para tuloy-tuloy yung they would be able to set a schedule at saka tuloy-tuloy yung pag-distribute ng cards po. Another is actually the issue on those beneficiaries na wala rito, nasa bansa. It was a point for discussion last week when we had a coordination meeting with DOE as well as Land Bank on how to address this. It appears that this is an issue with the bank, and precisely why we still would like to pursue this so that maibigay na nga talaga. Ang objective talaga nito, ang bottom line nito is maibigay lahat ng cards as soon as we can, no? Within the time frame that we have set ourselves.
Okay, thank you. Rosalie? Okay.
Kay ASEC Lambino. Sir, yung concern ng NEDA, the fare hike could increase the inflation rate, which is already beyond government estimates na 4.5% lang. Are you worried that the fare hike will indeed hike the inflation or worsen the inflation, or magte-taper off na rin, sir?
Well, we are very hopeful about the inflation rate because of the progress being made on rice tariffication. That is really the main advocacy and policy initiative that will make the inflation rate fall within the government target by next year. So, nasa advanced stage na po yan ng legislative process, nasa Senado na po, at pag-resume ay sa tapusin na po yung period of amendment at magiging ready na po siya for second reading. And because the President has certified it as urgent, halos sabay na po yung second and third reading. No? And then that they can move to BICAM quickly. Yung estimate po ng Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas in terms of inflation is if we implement it as early as we can this year, we can reduce our inflation rate by up to 0.2. No, that's 0.2 percentage points. And if we account for all of 2019, then we would reduce our inflation rate by around 0.7 percentage points. Ngayon, ang bagong estimate po natin for 2019 is that we are above the target range. We will be above the target range according to the BSP if we do not tarify rice. Pero kung matuloy po ang rice tariffication, papasok po tayo. Their latest estimate for next year, I believe, is 4.3 for the full year. So we just remove 0.7 from that with rice tariffication and will be below 4% in 2019.
Okay, Rosalie?
Good afternoon po. Kay Chair Delgra po, na-mention niyo po kanina na may possibility ma-delay yung implementation ng fare hike. Pero may possibility ba na talagang wag nang ma-implement kahit ano pa ang maging desisyon po dun sa petition?
I would rather not preempt the board on that one because that would be part of the discussion that we're going to have tomorrow, insofar as to which way the board will decide on.
Okay, sir. Regarding naman po dun sa timeliness ng pagtataas ng pamasahe, dahil ilang linggo po na nagkaroon po ng pagtaas sa presyo ng langis. Pero bakit po itinaon ng November? Is it because...
No, actually there is no there is no reason whatsoever. Nagkataon lang talaga na labas na yung decision at this time. Kasi dumating na rin yung NEDA opinion. So it took us about more or less 2 weeks when we received it sometime October 2 to resolve the petitions, both for the buses and for the PUJ.
Pero would you think na mas wiser po na ipatupad yung fare hike dahil nga magsisimulang mag-taper off yung inflation ng fourth quarter ng taon?
We actually have not been focused about that particular perspective.
Pero po
We
ngayon...
just have to decide on it kasi matagal na rin po. Itong petition na ito started last October 2017. And then they filed an amended petition sometime May. No? So, however way, mahirap naman din na patagalin pa natin. Iniisip pa nga nila na talagang mabagal. No? But one way or another, we need to address it. So yung triggering point po nung decision-making process na tuloy-tuloy na i-decide namin itong petition na ito was the submission of NEDA's opinion.
Pero sir, ngayon pong may mga reports din po na unti-unti na rin bumababa yung presyo ng langis sa pandaigdigang merkado. May possibility ba na wag ding matuloy yung fare hike?
Good that you mentioned that. Insofar as, I'd like to put this in perspective. One of the mandates of the LTFRB under Executive Order 202 is the setting of fare. So that said, insofar as setting of fare is concerned, there is a process by which we'll be able to undertake so that we'll be able to address fare adjustments. No? So pag tingnan mo yung historical data on how the minimum fare have moved vis-a-vis yung galaw ng presyo ng langis. Ganun din po, tumataas, bumababa, tumataas, bumababa. So we are looking at it as from that perspective. No? Hindi naman ibig sabihin na pag ito na for sa matagalan. Hindi naman ganun. We have to look at it from whatever prevailing circumstances there may be that we need to consider to address the issue of fares adjustment.
So sir, meron nga rin pong chance na bumaba yung...
If you talk about possibility, as I've said, historically, the minimum fare have moved up and down given with respect to external factors, which includes, of course, the movement of the prices in fuel.
Okay, last three. Tina, Alvin Baltasar, and then Benji Liwanag. Microphone, please. Tina.
To Asek Lambino po. Sir, pa-clarify naman yung tungkol sa DBC, recommendation ng DBCC on Pantawid Pasada program on the suspension or cancellation of non-essential spending. Ano to, will it be covering all agencies of government? Kasi and will it be mapapasok ba sa 2019 budget? Kasi I understand these things are under the personal services of each agency. Anong plano po?
Yung mga detalye po siguro, mas maganda tanong natin yung DBM. They are much better versed in the actual process. Pero my understanding is yes, the scope of the work of the task force will be government-wide. All agencies po ang titingnan.
So mami-minimize yung mga kasi these are na-consult na yung all agencies regarding this. And how are you going to present this sa Senate during the budget hearings kasi nasa last tranche na tayo ng mga deliberations. Baka by December mapapasa.
Opo. I-refer ko po sa DBM at babalikan ko po kayo.
Thank you, sir.
Alvin Baltasar.
Chairman Delgra, magandang
Yes.
umaga po.
Good morning.
Chairman, kasi nalalapit yung undas. Next week mag-uuwi na yung mga ano. Sir, any steps or warning para doon sa mga baka may magsamantala, magtaas ng pamasahe,
Opo.
nang wala namang approval ng LTFRB.
Opo.
Anong warning natin sa kanila, sir?
Okay, good that you asked that question. Ano? First, on the statistics na lang muna. Alam natin na pag mga ganitong klaseng mga panahon, there are a lot of ating mga kababayan na nagbabiyahe. So, as of now, we have accepted applications for special permits, no, for buses. Sa central office po is 436 applications, meaning franchise po ito, covering 1,072 units. But all across the country, we have, when I say all across the country po, kasi dun sa mga regions, they can also issue special permits in the routes within the region. And we have counted something like 805, lahat-lahat, covering region 4, 6, 7, 10, and 11. So sa pangkalatan po, aabot na mga 1,877. So as the bus operators would have that leeway, no, to address yung unusual increase ng mga pasahero na nagbibiyahe. Nakikita rin po natin dito sa datos na Bicol, those going to Bicol, those going to Northern Luzon have the most number of applications for special permit. Kasama na rin po yung papuntang South Luzon, which actually includes yung Roro service papuntang Mindoro. Okay, at saka mga iba't ibang lugar na island provinces. On top of that po, nagpalabas na rin tayo ng office order, no, to all the regional directors na paigtingin pa nila yung monitoring nila at inspection ng mga terminals, as well as to coordinate with the bus operators insofar as the operation of the buses are concerned. We will also be doing inspection all throughout, actually, starting. We're actually doing it since the start of the week until Undas, until after Undas, which is until after November 5, during which time the people would start coming back to the cities. No? So that is what we're trying to do, and we're very conscious of the fact na pag mayroong mga matataong lugar, kailangan din natin bantayan din. No? So we work closely not only with LTO but also with the enforcement authorities in the areas. And that includes the PNP as well as the AFP.
Okay, last question. I'm sorry. Benji, last question na tayo.
Sir, for Chairman Delgra, on the regulation, okay, regulatory body, yung LTFRB, but nakatanggap kami ng ilang reports that naniningil ng additional fare yung ilang UB Express.
Yes.
For example, number 1 is Quiapo to Mega Mall. They are asking for an additional fare of 5 pesos. Why? Dahil daw po because of the terminal, tapos may sinasabi pa silang mataas yung gasolina and everything. How would the LTFRB regulate this UB Express? But not only that, sir, I'm sorry. Marami pa rin po, Pasig and any other parts here in Metro Manila.
Good question on the UV. Because we have heard that report already, and that we are now preparing for an inspection insofar as the UV Express is concerned. And likely, we're going to operate on certain areas where there are reported overcharging of fare sa UV Express. Hindi lang po doon sa Quiapo narinig namin, yung pong galing sa Cavite, papuntang Makati, yung galing Marikina, papuntang Cubao, yung galing pong Fairview. So we have received these reports. So we will have to, we appeal. For now, we appeal for the UV Express operators to stop the overcharging because we will have to enforce the rule on overcharging. No? But nevertheless, we will already conduct. We are actually preparing to conduct enforcement activities as regards this. No? So, abangan nyo na lang po, may mangyayari po.
Sir, the hotline, so that the people could call LTFRB.
Yes, you can call the hotline. You can actually call LTFRB hotline 1342, or that you can also contact LTFRB through the FB page as well as the Twitter for any report as regards that. We will take those reports and consolidate them para isahan yung gagawin nating enforcement activities po.
Thank you very much.
Salamat din po sa tanong.
Okay, maraming salamat, Chairman Delgra. Salamat, Assistant Secretary Tony Lambino. Thank you, Malacañang Press Corps. Back to our main studio sa Radyo Pilipinas and People's Television Network.